Hey folks, welcome to my channel. I want to say something real quick. I have been working on, how do I put this delicately? I've been, not even delicately, how do I put this? I have been working on building a business on Amazon for about 8 months now. And I did it out of necessity. And there's something that I've learned in the last several months, and there's something that came to me that I just felt like I needed to share this. And so I wanted to start with this. There was a couple weeks ago, I was listening to a video and somebody was saying, you need to help other people, essentially. Stop looking at helping yourself and look for helping other people. And I thought, you know what? You're absolutely right. I need to do that. I need to focus less on me and focus more on helping other people. And so before I jump in to everything I'm going to say, I just want to be transparent that if you do anything that I tell you to do on this channel, do anything that I talk about my own experiences, that your results in doing this will depend on your situation, your effort, and a bunch of other factors. And what worked for me may not work for you. So use the information that I give you as inspiration, but not as a guarantee. And just realize this is my experience and not professional advice. So if you need an expert, go find one, consult with one. But with that being said, I shot a video yesterday and I posted it saying, look, I want to go a new direction. I want to help people. And so there may be something that you and I can do that not everybody can do. I have the ability to see, to smell, to taste, to feel, to touch. I can hear, I can speak, and these are all things that I take for granted every day. I can walk, I can talk, I can do a lot of stuff. So can many of you who are watching this. But there are some of you who aren't watching this, that you're listening to this. There's some of you that are watching this and not able to hear this. There are people that can't use their hands to move things around, etc. I want to help people who have disabilities to be able to build a business selling on Amazon. And in order to do that, I need some help. First of all, I need people who would be willing to learn from me on how to sell on Amazon. People who have a disability. Now, this disability may be something that prevents you from getting a job, where you actually are working from home or living at home, living off of disability payments. Payments that help you honestly survive. And it could be that you have a caretaker who helps you do the things that you do. And I'll give an example. I have somebody who's very close to me who had a stroke. And the person who had a stroke cannot speak. And they have the ability to move one hand. And I was thinking, you know, if I could give them the ability to build a business, to buy and sell stuff on Amazon, I would give them some ability to get back some of the dignity, get back some of the importance that they once felt as the head of their household. And so I want to share with you that this is going to be my journey moving forward on this channel. My intent is going to be to help those who have disabilities to build an Amazon business, and to do it in a way that I can cover people who have different disabilities. So I know somebody, as an example, who is in a wheelchair, who cannot speak, but and they can't even move themselves around, but pushing a joystick forward and backward. Their ability to use their hands has been diminished, but they do have a keyboard where they're able to type in stuff. And what impressed me was, looks can be deceiving, that the outer appearance sometimes can be deceiving, because while this person is in a wheelchair and honestly they're drooling, they can't speak, they can grunt but they can't speak, but this person was able to write and publish a book. And I didn't get it ready for prime time for this, so I'll find the link to her book and I'll put it down in the description down below. But this person inspired me. Every time I see somebody who is sitting at a corner of a street begging for money, I think of this person who's in a wheelchair, who wrote her own book, who cannot speak, who cannot type like I can type, but she could type with one button at a time, one word at a time. And I find that very inspirational. And that I imagine myself, and I could be wrong, so if you have a disability, please tell me in the comments below that I'm totally wrong. Tell me your story, let me know. But I imagine myself, if I was in a position where I went from right now, where I'm able to speak, I'm able to communicate so freely right now, to a position where I was not able to speak, and that I wasn't able to move my limbs. And the only thing that was done for me was that movies, that I kept watching movies, people would feed me, people would bathe me, they would take care of my personal needs, but I'd be stuck in my head is how I would feel. And there are some people out there who are living this. You may be living this. And so I'm speaking to you. If this is how you feel, like everybody has to take care of me, I wish I could give back, I wish I could help them, and you have the capacity in your mind to do a few things, you could turn this around where you could produce in a way that you'd feel like you are productive in giving back to those who have been loving you. And I know there's evidences, lots of evidences of people who have lost all the capabilities of using their body, but are there in their mind and are able to give back in other ways and may not know how. We have the capability now with the internet, and I've had it for a while now, to give ability to those who are disabled. And so I have learned on this journey over the last 8 months that you can build an Amazon business where you never touch the item that you're buying. It's called online arbitrage. And so I want to take you through this little journey, and I have this in the background with this website, create an Amazon seller account. I have this because it speaks to the journey I want to take you on. There are a lot of people here. It says more than 70% of the Amazon sellers generate the first sale in less than 60 days. I did sell within 60 days. And there are two ways that you can sell on Amazon. There's Amazon FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, where you send the items into Amazon's warehouse to their fulfillment centers, and when somebody buys it, they prep it and they ship it, they send it out. And then you get paid for the item that you sold. There's also FBM, fulfilled by merchant, where you prep everything at home. When you get an order, you send it to the person on the other end. Now, for the purposes of moving forward with this channel, I'm going to focus solely on FBA, because as an FBA seller myself, I do buy items, I do prep them myself, and I send them into Amazon's fulfillment center. However, if I put myself into a position where I don't have the capability of picking up an item because I don't have arms that move, or I don't have arms, period. There are people that are able to type in things with their eyes. That's the capability we have. But see, on Amazon, you have the ability to set up an account. You have the ability to buy things online. There are programs you can use, and here I'll go ahead and open this one up. There's this program, Seller Amp, and I have a link for it down below, where you can sign up to get this tool that will allow you to analyze the data on a product. You can see an example of it here on the side. And you're able, with an app or as a Chrome extension. Now, for the people I expect to help, I expect to use the Chrome extension with Seller Amp, where you can look up an item, search the item on Seller Amp, type in the amount of cost, type in the cost of the item, and compare that to what other people are selling it for on Amazon. So there are a few key things that somebody would need to have the ability to do in order to sell as a disabled person, with just assuming that they're quadriplegic, but they have the use of their mind and they have the ability to search online. There is the capability of using this tool where you can find something. You would have to be able to search the internet. You have to be able to compare images and words. So you'd have to be able to compare one item that's for sale on one website with an item that sells on Amazon. You'd have to be able to determine how much something costs on the other website versus how much it costs on Amazon, and use the Chrome extension through Seller Amp to determine whether something is profitable or not. Now, I've thought a lot about this. Would you need to know math? Would you need to know math well? And the reality is you don't need to know math well, but you do need to know enough of math that you're able to type in the dollar amount of the item that you found on the other website. You'd have to have enough ability to do analysis. So if you want to learn how to do this as somebody who's disabled, or even somebody who's not, you have to have these basic functions. Being able to surf the web, find a product, make sure it's the same product that sells on Amazon, make sure that the price on the website you're looking at can be entered into the Chrome extension on Seller Amp, and then be able to tell the difference between green and red. And that, for the most part, is it. Because on Seller Amp, once you've found an item that meets the criteria that you set, and that I will help establish with you over many videos, I'm sure, you will then have a situation where you can have Seller Amp pop up. Let me see if I can give an example of one. I don't know if I'll find something that's all green, but we can look. We'll pick something at random. And let's see. You know, I may need to go to a different window for this. So let's go to this one. Let's see if it's showing up for you guys. There we go. Let's open this up. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this. So let's do it this way. Let's go back to here. Just in case. There we go. All right, so here we are. So we're on this Walmart.com. Let's find an item. And I don't have Seller Amp on this one. Well, you'll have to trust me. Because I'm not getting it to work, and that's okay. That's all right. There we go. So we're on this website. We'll just stick here, and we'll go from here. I'm sorry about that. If you're able to tell the difference between red and green, you're able to see that through Seller Amp, when you enter in an item, you'll be able to see something turn green, meaning, yes, this is something that matches all your criteria, that would get the dollar amount that you want to make, the return on investment that you want to make, and then you're good to go. You'd be able to see how many times this item sells per month, and you'll be able to look at a graph. Now, some of these things will be a little bit difficult. Some of these things will be easy. I don't know the level of the disability of the person who's watching this video, or the person who's watching this video on behalf of the person who is disabled. But I do know this, that if you have the capability of typing in the numbers and analyzing data, that you can do this business. That's what I believe. I believe that because I can do this. And if I can do this, I think that a lot of people can do this. So I want to show you what I've been able to do just recently. So let's take a look at this. So on this site, this shows you, it says that I sold in May about $7,500 worth of stuff. I sold 362 items, selling on average at $20.31, and that my store received 280,000 page views, which is amazing. I was offered almost 2% of the time, compared to when I started in November and made my first sale. And in April, I sold $10.2 thousand. But when I first started, it says I went from 0.04% at launch being featured to now 2%. That is a huge increase. And a lot of things went into play for this. But this is what it looked like yesterday. I sold 20 items in 19 different orders. So somebody ordered 2 things from me at once. I sold $404 worth of stuff, and the average sales price was $21.29. Okay, so I wanted to show this because a lot of the stuff that I buy and sell are things that I find at a local store. I go to Ross, I go to TJ Maxx, I go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Office Depot, Walmart, Kohl's, JC Penney. I go to a lot of different stores, and I find a lot of stuff in person. But for this, I know there's going to be a lot of people who won't be able to go into a store. Now, some of you will be able to go into a store. If you're a paraplegic, if you lost the use of one leg or both legs, but you're able to use both hands, your mind is completely there. You just have less ability to move around. Keeping in mind that as I'm doing this video, I'm trying to think of all the different kinds of disabilities you could have. You could have a stutter that doesn't allow you to speak eloquently, but you're able to use your proper functions. So I'm able to go into a store and able to buy things. I'm able to scan things on a shelf and able to pull them off. What I'm hoping to do for this video or for this channel is to teach you how to find the things online. So you don't have to go into a store. You don't have to scan those things, but I will show those things on occasion to show what I do for those who are able to use a wheelchair to go in, or use a crutch to go in, or use other means. Maybe you have an artificial limb, and that allows you to move around. I don't know. All I know is I want to help those people who are less abled, less fully bodied. So with this, I'm showing you, I have purchased a lot of this stuff was just books and DVDs and CDs. Some of these were beauty products that I bought inside Ross and that I turned around and sold. $404. Now, $404 over 30 days is $12,000 a month in sales. Now, generally speaking, about a third of what I earn would go back to me as profit. About a third of what I earn goes back to me as cost for the items that I bought in the first place. And a third of it goes to Amazon as fees, as placement fees, as their cost to deliver the item to the customer, provide all the necessary customer service, to advertise so people come to the page, etc., etc. So I wanted to share this because out of this $404, about 2/3 of it, so about $240 will come to me as cost and profit. So if I'm thinking about it in this way, 1/3 is about $133. Over a full month, that's about $4,000 a month in profit, about $4,000 a month in cost that I have to spend to keep this going. So the other part that you would need to have in order to run this business, an Amazon business, is you have to have some money, seed capital, to begin. So if you are able to purchase items, if you have money to purchase items, you can find items that you can turn around and sell. Now, I look for items that have a minimum of a 35% return on the investment. And what that means is if I spend $10 on the item, I expect to get not only that $10 back, but also to get $3.50 or more back with that $10. So that means if I spend $10, I should get back $13.50 back or more after all the fees, after all the costs, etc. So how would I do this? Assuming that the only thing I can do is move my eyes. I can't speak. Maybe I'm deaf, but I can use my eyes. And I can read what's on the page. And I can go to a website using my eyes as a keyboard because there are capabilities for that. And you're able to find something, you're able to purchase it. Great. Now what? Well, instead of sending it to your home, there are prep centers. And a prep center is a location where people can send their items, and the people at the prep center will receive those items on your behalf. They'll put the label, the sticker, on the product itself. They may bag it up if it needs to be bagged. They'll box it up, and they will send it into Amazon on your behalf. So the only thing that you need to do is find the item, purchase the item, and price the item. If you can do those three things, you can be in business and you can actually sell hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. You can make millions selling on Amazon. I know this because there's so many people on YouTube that have shown their capabilities of selling millions of dollars per year. And a lot of it is done through online arbitrage. Retail arbitrage can get a lot of people to that point. However, if you're not able to go into a store to start retail arbitrage, we got to start with online arbitrage, and that's a great start, great place to start. So what are the barriers? The barriers are going to be your ability to communicate with the prep center, your ability to find the items, find out what is a good item versus a bad item, and be able to reprice those items. If you can do those things, you're solid. So this is my video to prep all of this, to give you kind of an idea of where we're going with this channel. And my hope is that I can help you build a business, not only help you build a business, but also physically here local to me. I'm hoping to find people who are disabled who would like me to help them start this Amazon business. And so I've already reached out to a prep center in Montana. Montana is a sales tax-free state, and I've reached out and I'm partnering with them and hoping that I can use their network. They have a network of stay-at-home moms who do prep center work. And my hope is to work with them so that people who are disabled, who are trying to get started on this, can have a place to go. So instead of having the items be sent to their house, they can send it to the prep center. And most prep centers require a large quantity per month. But I'm working with this group so that if you have a disability, I can help you with this prep center start off with small quantities and slowly build yourself up till you have higher quantities. Now, there are certain things that you're going to need to do in order for this to work, and you'll need to be able to buy enough items that they can send in a box, a quantity enough that it makes sense to send into Amazon so that your shipping costs are diminished. They're optimized so that you're sending in a full box at a time. You're not sending one item, you're sending in 30 or 40 or 50 items. And so that means we have to be able to work together to be able to find stuff that you can buy, where you can buy 10 of this item and 10 of that item and 10 of this item and combine them, send them all to this prep center. They can get everything combined for you and then send it in. And then we'll use a repricer. So the tools that we will need are going to be SellerAmp, which will help us to look at the items that we're going to potentially buy. We're going to need to have some method that we can communicate with the prep center. So that's probably going to be some kind of Google Sheet. It's probably going to be an email system that we can email back and forth, which you have to have in order to get an Amazon account anyway. And we're also going to need a repricer. Now I have a repricer. I have a link for the repricer that I use down below. I have SellerAmp's link down below. And those are the main things. Once we have those, we're in business. You do not have to have an LLC, although eventually, as you make more and more money, we will want you to get an LLC. We'll want you to get to the point where you can make so much money that it makes sense to have a business that is making the money for you, right? That you're making the money through the business. As somebody who's disabled, it could be that you would lose, it's possible that you could lose disability benefits if you earn a certain amount of money. So with that, there are certain things that we may need to set up, like potentially have a foundation that would act on your behalf, on providing the betterment, your care, that in this way your business would donate the money to your foundation, and your foundation would take care of you as a disabled person, that your foundation would take care of your specific needs. In this way, my understanding, and I could be completely wrong, and I'm reaching out to the community. Maybe there's somebody that you know that is an accountant. Maybe there's somebody you know who's a lawyer who could help me, help you in this regard, could give free advice that maybe I could interview, maybe I could talk to on the side and just share this information on my channel, and they don't have to be public. But I believe there's a way that your business, your LLC, you can own the LLC, it can earn the money on your behalf, and you can donate all that money to the foundation, and that foundation can then be used to provide for your personal needs without increasing your income as a person, therefore allowing you to continue your disability benefits. Now, I would say, if at some point you are making enough money where you don't need the disability benefits anymore, that I think that obviously you could come off of them and say, look, I'm a self-made person. I don't need the benefits anymore. or maybe you have to have those benefits and that's never going to be the situation. And in that case, you build a foundation for the betterment of other people to do the same thing that you're doing. There's so many ways we could go about this, but I want to share these videos with integrity, with honesty, with transparency, and also to tell you from a point of humility that I am not an expert. I am somebody who's been doing this for 8 months. I've earned success doing this. I've hit over $10,000 in a month, as you saw up above, and I'm on pace that I could hit over $10,000 this month and months to come. I have to rely on other people to help me help you in this case. I'm going to rely on the folks in Montana, and I'll be sharing their names as time moves on. I'll be relying on the prep centers to help me. Any kind of legal advice or accounting advice that can be shared so I can help people who have disabilities get on. I'm going to rely on people who are disabled to shoot videos of them doing the work that I want to train you to do. So this is my way of reaching out, telling you this is my intention. I will tell you my story of how I got started, why I got started on Amazon. You know, why not? Why not just tell it now? This is going to be a long video, so I'm just going to tell it now. I have been working for decades as many different jobs, and throughout my life, I have always looked for businesses to build on my own to make money. And I've had a lot of businesses that have not worked out well. I've had a lot of businesses that did okay, but I've never had anything that kind of blew up. I had an opportunity to invest in a private equity fund, private equity group, and not everybody gets this opportunity. Honestly, it's pretty rare that you get invited to invest in a private equity group. And this private equity group was giving me fantastic returns on my money. I was making tens of thousands of dollars a month in revenue, and it led to over 5 figures in profit per month beyond my normal day job. And I was doing really well for about a year. Excuse me. And because I was doing so well, I kept investing more and more and more into the private equity group. Well, that private equity group, it hit a wall. And so I went and I had borrowed money to invest in this private equity group. Matter of fact, I was completely debt-free other than my house before I invested in this private equity group. And I had borrowed a lot of money. And I put it in and I was making a return, an amazing return every month. And I was using a lot of that money to pay down the debts that I had incurred to put in the private equity group, both that and to reinvest into the private equity group because I had that opportunity. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, the private equity group went from paying me tens of thousands of dollars a month to paying me nothing. And the money that I owe every month on the debt that I took out is thousands of dollars. With my daytime job, I could not afford. I was losing $4,000 a month, essentially with all the different costs that were built in. So I borrowed a lot of money. $4,000 a month. That's what is losing every month. There's only so long that you can go before you can run out of money. And I was hitting that point, and I was hitting it very quickly. And so I had researched this opportunity about 8 or 9 months before I started selling on Amazon. There was this company that helps you buy and sell books, textbooks, college books. And it cost $2,000 to get in, and it was $200 to $400 a month. And I was like, this is crazy, I'm not going to do it. But I liked the idea. Well, about this time that I went from making a lot to making nothing, to losing money, I got an email from this group again. And it said, you know what, we're going to teach you the slow way to sell on Amazon, with the idea that they would entice me to buy their program because they use AI to help them automate things to make it faster. Well, what they did was they put me through a course, a 2-hour webinar that taught me what the terms were for being able to sell on Amazon. I didn't know retail arbitrage. I didn't know online arbitrage. I didn't know these words. Once I knew those words, I was able to search the internet far and wide on how to do online arbitrage on Amazon. And I said, if they can do it, I can do it. If this kid that's 15 years old can make $500,000 a year selling stuff on Amazon, I can sell $500,000 stuff a year on Amazon. If somebody else can do it, I can do it. I'm not the brightest person in the bunch. I did graduate cum laude with my bachelor's degree. I did get a master's degree in 11 months. So I know that I'm not the dullest crayon in the bunch, but I'm also not the brightest crayon either. So I figured if they can do it, I can do it. So I went out and I started studying products after products of products. I watched dozens of hours of videos, and as I was doing all this, I found products and I started buying them, and then I applied to sell on Amazon. So by the time I had applied to sell on Amazon, I already had 2 boxes of stuff to send in to Amazon. Now I wasn't allowed to send it all in because there was another term that I learned, which was gating or ungated or ungating. I found out that I was gated in a lot of the stuff that I was buying, but it was profitable, so I just held on to it. I kept it in a stack inside my garage. And what I did was I set a goal that every week I would send in 2 boxes of products to Amazon to sell. So I got approved around October the 1st last year in 2024. And every week for months and months and months, I sent in 2 boxes every week without fail. And with the idea that a train is slow to get started, but once a train gets started and running, it's hard to stop it. So the first month in October, I sold nothing because I did everything fulfilled by Amazon. I sent everything into Amazon. I didn't want to sell stuff from my garage. I didn't want to keep inventory in my garage. I wanted to sell it from Amazon. So in October, I sold nothing, but I sent it in. In November, I sold, my first item was Anne of Green Gables, a book set of Anne of Green Gables. Sold it for $32 or $36. I bought it for $1 at Salvation Army. And I sold a couple other things. I sold $300 in November of 2024. So I went from selling nothing to selling $300 worth. Well, that still wasn't enough money to pay for all the shipping that I did to send in 2 boxes a week, every week. Then in December, I sold about $1,900 worth of stuff. And at the end of December, right after Christmas, I got my first payment from Amazon. It was about $100 or so. The reason why it was only $100 or so is because I was sending in so much product that I was getting charged for shipping costs. You know, $40, $50, $60, $80 for shipping because I'm sending in 2 boxes every week. In some cases, I'm sending in 8 or 9 boxes of stuff. Well, in January, I sold about $3,000 worth of stuff. In February, I sold about $6,000 worth of stuff. In March, I sold $10,000. I sold about $6,000 in February, and I sold $10,000 in April. So I kept going up. I kept going. You know, I think I went 3, 3, 6, 10, and so I kept going up. But I kept sending in 2 boxes a week. Now I'm finally at the point where that $4,000 that I lose every month is covered by Amazon, by the profit that I make selling on Amazon. So my family is no longer in losing. We're break even now, but that means I still have to spend every month to send product in, but I'm getting that money back every month to buy more stuff. I share this with you because I went from hopelessness, feeling like I had nothing to give my family, that I had done them wrong, that I couldn't provide for my family, that I was hurting. I was really hurting mentally, emotionally. I was already working an extra 2 jobs. I was working my full-time job, I was teaching online, and now I'm working an Amazon job, and I'm also developing a game online for a cryptocurrency game. So I've got all these things that are going on, just taking all of my attention, and I was making nothing. I was losing money every month, and it was just totally blowing my mind. So that's where I was. Now I'm at the point where I'm able to make everything okay, and it's going to move up from here. So I get to grow with you. As you watch my videos, I get to grow with you. And as I help people who have thought that they couldn't really give back in any way to their family who's been helping them, now they can. People who have felt like the only thing they could do is watch Netflix and Amazon Prime all day, you can give back. You can earn money selling on Amazon. I can help you build this business. And I'm not going to charge you anything for it. I'm just going to put this stuff on YouTube and have you watch it. If you do it, great. If you don't, you know what? You're no worse off than where you are currently. But if you can apply these principles that I teach you, you can earn more money which allows you to feel like you're contributing, that you're providing for those who are providing for you. And if that's all it means, is that you get a sense of pride that you're giving back and that you're able to accomplish something when other people don't think that you can accomplish things, you know what? That is a sense of pride that we all need, that you can give, that you are worth living, that you are worth being around, you're worth helping. You've got a lot to give to society, that you're not limited by your disability, but that you're able to break through that disability and provide beyond what you've ever imagined. That's what I imagine for you. I don't see you as stuck. I don't see that. I see this opportunity as a door that can open for you, and you can walk through to a new way of thinking, a new way of living. And I want that for you. I want that for everybody. I want my goal on this channel to make millionaires. I want to make tons of millionaires. And Amazon just happens to be a way that I now know how to make that happen. They have the infrastructure set up. So now we just have to take you, put you into the system, and do the system. And that's it. Eventually you get to the point where you don't even have to find the products on your own. Potentially you can hire people that will find the products for you, and that you just purchase them, somebody else preps them, somebody else sends them to Amazon. Amazon sells it on your behalf. The money comes back into your bank account, and you rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And all of a sudden, now you're able to give like you've never been able to give before. You're able to live like you've never been able to live in your current circumstance. So that's what I want for this channel. That's what I want to do to help. If you are somebody who would like to learn from this, please put something in the comments down below. Let me know that you're hearing my message. Let me know that I'm going in the direction that makes sense. And tell me if I'm not. Tell me if I am so lost on this that I don't think of people with disabilities correctly, that I'm wrong in my thinking. Tell me where I'm going wrong. Tell me where I'm going right. Tell me, hook me up with the people that can help me help you become a better you, become more financially free you. Help me help you. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll have a lot more videos coming, but this is the beginning.